Thank you, Bill Hammer, CNN, Cincinnati native, and we all know him as James Dale. Government illusion is what I'd like to touch on today. Uh, Control is an illusion for narcissists. If you want to make change, don't wait on it to be legislated. Go out there and start doing it. People seeing you doing it and seeing positive results will result in the world doing it. I promise you, we do not need to be directed by government to do the right thing. Churches, post your uh, input in society doing God's work. Financially, please. People out there who are watching TV or on the internet and hear suggestive uh, voices, suggestive audio, call the FCC.gov. This happened before. It happened at the Stars and Stripes radio stations and caused damage and may still have damage hanging and lingering today. I know that I was a part of it down on Butler Warren Road, Western Row area, when 700's towers down there opened garage doors on their own and played through the metal in the house when the electric was completely off. We have to watch what these people do out here in these radio stations with their gamma rays. They can cause damage. They're held accountable by the government, and that's fcc.gov. Drop them a line. They also can monitor these messages to kids about, it's okay to have sex and all kinds of other craziness. We want to address our drug issue. Bill, we still have drug abuse down here in Cincinnati and Dayton, and I'm sure all the surrounding areas. So as a drug addict, a person who's loved speed and alcohol his whole life, and pretty much anything exciting I get excited about, wants to explain how you become an addict. In my definition, which I'm not an addict who's ever depended on something. It's an accent to who I am. It does not define me on a daily basis. I've never been that person. So there are levels to it, kind of like Dante's Inferno, really. Why use? For me, anxiety, for the social gatherings, to feel better, it's available to rebel and say, to hell with them. I'm gonna take a break mentally from all this. To create an identity in that state. People expect you to be the person who's drinking and taking drugs with them. You become comfortable in that role. And then, of course, there's crisis, like if your family dies, you lose your job, things like that. You try to take off the stress or the sorrow by numbing yourself with these medications, alcohol and such. How do you stop a loved one? It's real simple. You inform them, you educate them. That's the answer to everything. Shared information, education, and love. I mean, those are the ingredients to create real change, not only in your home, but in the world. Love something. Become passionate about it so that your mind stops obsessing on the depression, the rejection of society, all the things that cause you to want to change your state of mind. Change yourself. Do things differently. Obviously, you're trying to escape some feeling that you have, and it may be something as minute as a new hairdo, new clothes. Change your identity a little bit. You'll notice I do that a lot with my voices. I like to have fun with them. I also like to enunciate when I'm on audio or video. That way my message is clear. Become invested. I took on a campaign to sort of support something I should have been supporting harder earlier in the U.S. for Hope Challenge. Be invested in it. Dedicate as much time to it as you did your job, for example. How many people out there are addicted to working? I've met a bunch of them, 60 hours a week and still going strong. Go home and love your family. Positive reinforcement. Good job. I love you. These are the special things that I find amazing about you. Will go a long way in helping build that addict child of yours, or spouse, or partner, or friend. Tell them when they're not inebriated how wonderful they are, and they'll try to remain that way for you. I promise you. They admire you, so they're going to say, that makes me feel good when they say that. So I don't need to change my state of mind. They're giving me my euphoria just by speaking to me. Be involved in things that are successful, including relationships. If you have a lot of negativity around you, you're going to end up running into that crowd that does the same and has a lot of problems drinking and drugging. To be satisfied with your life, you must be successful. If you're not being successful, change what you're doing or change the way you're doing it. It's real simple. The number one thing that you have to do as the addict, as the codependent, as the person who wants to change both is be honest. You must communicate. You cannot have a plan set on a shelf and not administrate it or delegate it out to people, letting them know what their role is and what they need to do. It's not being bossy, it's informing people. This is the problem, this is how I think we should address it, and they'll know that it's concerning enough for you to address them. So they'll help you or they'll get out of your way. What's the number one thing that we want to do as individuals? We want to evaluate this. The drug problem. The drug problem for me, in my situation, my experience, is opiates, heroin, and alcohol. Those are the ones that cause the most death, which I think is what we need to address first, before we address the aphrodisiacs and speed and all the other things that go on. We need to address why the children are dying. And the reason they're dying ultimately becomes lobbyists from pharmacists, pharmaceutical companies, doctors. No one wants to take on the guy who's got the big name and the big car in town. So they ignore it, and our children continue to overdose from the overprescribed pain medicines traded locally all the time. And it's a subject I get tired of talking about because everyone wants to say they've got a prescription so they're not an addict. Yes, you are. Not only that, I think your doctor's an addict who's making money off of repeatedly telling you that you're sick half the time. You should have a treatment plan less than 90 days for anything I can think of without having surgery. No one is sick for 2 decades. Wake up. That's how I would treat a child. You are not going to sit here and continue to tell me that you're sick. If you're that bad, have surgery. If it's not bad enough for surgery, it's not bad enough to sit here and not be able to work or drive, which it says right on the bottle you're not allowed to do. This society overlooks this campaign of opiates to a point of being ridiculous. We are burying children by the thousands over this. A doctor does not have the right to tell us that they're doing the right thing when they're making money hand over fist doing it. There's an integrity problem out here with these opiates, and it has to be addressed. You're not functional. So either have the surgery or admit it. You're just not a functional person. We love you, but stop lying to us. It makes us feel like you're demeaning or disrespecting us. Now, the repercussions of that mean that we're not going to be so codependent because you're admitting it, and we can all be honest and move on about our day. The negative stimuli is the police know that you go to the pain clinic and you're not allowed to drive. So they take your license. We're not going to support you with money because you could make money if you chose not to do this. And then they'll get off of these drugs that make them sleep and not be able to function at work all the time. And then you can turn your radar onto the speeds out there or whatnot. The untaxed ones, of course, are always first. We don't want to talk about Red Bull or Guyana or Horny Goat Weed or all the little bottles of speed out there that'll eat the line out of your stomach out. We only want to talk about the ones that seem to be making all the money out here underneath the taxes. It's a game they played a long time. Moonshiners was a great show. Popcorn Sutton and Billy Ray Cyrus did a show called Appalachian's History. It was an amazing show. I can't find it on the internet anywhere. Billy Ray Cyrus with I think Johnny Knoxville and Popcorn Sutton. It's an amazing documentary about moonshining, racing, all the way up to methamphetamine today. So one thing that's not popular that I'm going to tell you from my experience is this, and I've suggested it to heroin addicts before. Get on meth. Get on speed. What it does is it takes away all your withdrawal problems, and it takes you from being sleepy and in pain to feeling elated enough to smile, dance around, joke, and laugh, sometimes hysterically. So I think it's a better transition for you, since you have the bone aching pains and stuff, to go ahead and switch over since you're a drug addict anyway, and get in the lane that's productive. It makes you feel good. You can go to work. You can laugh, giggle, and everything. And, you just have to make sure that you sleep while you transition your body away from the opiate. It's not very popular, but I've seen it firsthand, and it works like a charm overnight. Once they start taking it, they don't crave that stuff no more. It's the drug that kills all the other drugs. As far as if a drug dealer is carrying it, nobody wants the other stuff anymore. So that's the word from the streets. It's not popular, but it's true, and I've never had anybody overdosing on speed and dying. How do we end this lobby issue with these pharmacists and pharmaceutical companies? I'm doing it right now. I'm informing people. That's the key to it all. That's what holds my program, U.S. for Hope, together. As soon as we can get these football stadiums, these arenas, even the stores. We've got a local store. The minute I get enough money, I'm printing up a bunch of these books and setting it at the registers to educate people and give them a reason to take on a cause, read the book, turn around, sell it for $2 or $3, and have that $2 or $3 go into the Red Cross or ALS.org. It's a great idea. You must stop people by making them more educated, and it alone will decrease the demand for these drugs.